When you think of iconic film moments from the 1980s, Phoebe Cates is one of the first names that comes to mind. Best known for her unforgettable role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, she quickly became a cultural phenomenon, capturing the imagination of moviegoers with her beauty, charm, and charisma. But beyond her acting, Phoebe has remained a name that sparks conversation, especially when it comes to her bold and daring topless photos that continue to make fans look twice. Phoebe's rise to fame was meteoric. In the early 80s, she was the actress everyone was talking about. She had a girl-next-door appeal, but she wasn't afraid to step outside of those boundaries. What set her apart from many of her contemporaries was her willingness to take risks, to embrace roles and photo shoots that showed a more daring side. This boldness created some of the most talked-about images of her career. Her topless photos, in particular, remain among the most striking. At the time, they shocked audiences who weren't expecting someone with such an innocent, wholesome image to appear in such revealing ways. But for Phoebe, it wasn't just about shock value. It was about control, confidence, and the ability to own her image in an industry that often dictated how young actresses should be portrayed. The famous pool scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High cemented her as a cultural icon. That moment alone is still considered one of the most memorable scenes in teen movie history. But beyond the film, her photo shoots and topless images elevated her status as one of the most talked about women in Hollywood. Fans couldn't get enough, and magazines scrambled to feature her in spreads that highlighted her natural beauty and captivating screen presence. What made these photos so powerful was the combination of her natural elegance and her fearless attitude. Phoebe never came across as trying too hard, she exuded effortless glamour. Her images were daring but tasteful, striking the perfect balance between sensuality and sophistication. They showed a young actress who knew her worth and wasn't afraid to push boundaries. Of course, these topless photos didn't come without controversy. Some critics at the time questioned whether they would overshadow her acting talent. But in hindsight, they only added to her legacy. Phoebe proved that she could balance serious performances with the allure of being a sex symbol, and that duality is part of what has made her such a lasting figure in pop culture, even though she later stepped back from Hollywood to focus on her family and personal life. Phoebe's images have never faded from memory. They continue to resurface, reminding fans of her boldness and the way she defined an era of Hollywood glamour. Many still regard her as one of the most iconic beauties of the 1980s, and her photos remain just as captivating now as they were then. So, when people say Phoebe Cates' topless photos will make you look twice, they aren't exaggerating. These images are more than just provocative, they're a statement. They represent a time when Phoebe took control of her image, challenged expectations, and left an unforgettable mark on pop culture. Phoebe Cates may have stepped away from the spotlight, but her daring choices and iconic photos ensure that she'll never be forgotten. She's a star who made people look twice, and she still does today.